of the coolest things about anime that I personally like is the fact that certain stories and ideas can only be adapted in some form of animated medium. I mean, I would pay so much money to see a live-action Zoids film, but I doubt it would work well overall. This leads me to the show Girls Und Panzer, a concept that only anime would be able to accomplish. However, does that mean that they were able to create a successful series? What's up guys, it's Kent from Spartan Media Reviews, here to review the anime Girls Und Panzer. For people who haven't seen this show, you're probably saying, I'm sure it's just another cute girls doing cute things in a different setting style of series, and you would be partially correct, minus the cute things aspect. Despite the concept of the show sounding really stupid, it works so well. Girls Und Panzer follows the sport of tankery, a fancy word for tank battles, and primarily the school Ororai Girls Academy. Miho Nishizumi decided to attend this school to avoid tankery at all costs. However, after pretty much being forced into the club, she along with many others try to become the best at tankery. Girls Und Panzer has the dumbest premise that I have seen in a while since Strike Witches, a show that features moe characters fighting each other in large tanks. Sounds like the stupidest thing ever. However, you would be wrong. There are a few reasons on why Girls Und Panzer excels at the story it tells. Despite it not looking like it, Girls Und Panzer has lots of action for a moe-styled show, as well as plenty of strategy blended into its narrative. The girls aren't just going around and shooting each other, they actually have to think of plans to win the battle. It goes along that style of the game Battalion Wars, giving it an overall fun, cartoony vibe. The comedy is surprisingly witty for this type of series, not being the standard slice of life style, and the direction was also nice in my opinion. The way shots were framed added some more drama and suspense to everything, but also still keeping that cartoony style. The opening sequence in itself is one of my favorite aspects of the show. Despite it being CG, it already immerses you into the world of tankery and the characters who are a part of it. Girls Und Panzer's world is also pretty cool thanks to the details it adds. While the entire series taking place on giant ships is already cool in itself, details like having military-themed stores in the city, along with having diners that create tank-themed cakes and deliver them on support vehicles, adds more to the fact of how important tankery is to these schools. The way the world was showcased in the first episode using a large-scale zoom-out effect was a really nice reveal as well. While I have praised this story a lot, I do know that it isn't anything incredible in terms of writing. However, it still is a good story that any anime fan should try. Girls Und Panzer has a very likable cast, but really not much else. I really like the personalities of the show, as each character helped build up the team they were a part of, as well as adding to the comedic style of the show. While yes, a lot of these personalities are considered cliche for this type of genre, I still found the interactions between the cast fun. Development is where the cast and the show suffers the most, as there really isn't any struggle our characters have to overcome, aside from winning some sort of event. I guess you could say that characters like Miho and Hana overcame obstacles to be where they are, but it was resolved far too quickly to do much for me. It's a good cast of characters that excel in a fun slice of life setting, but nothing much beyond that in my opinion. Girls Und Panzer's animation relies a lot on computer generated effects, but it works really well nonetheless. The show does look really nice, having backgrounds that blend well with the tanks, along with very well executed camera movement. I do wish the character designs were more diverse in nature, but they were at least drawn well. If you are still skeptical about the CG in the series, I believe Girls Und Panzer is able to showcase how to use mostly CG to create something awesome. The final battle sequence in episode 12 is the perfect example of this. That final battle was a solid animated sequence, utilizing its CG to its fullest extent. The shots were framed in cool ways, the editing was fast-paced and exciting, and they didn't do too much with what they had. Everything was done efficiently to give that end sequence tons of flash. The opening is animated just as well as the rest of the series, having a very fun opening few seconds that I personally love, as it captures the true personalities of our main cast and the interactions they share together. The ending is far more simplistic but fun nonetheless. It was nice to see each team have an opportunity to have their tanks featured in the ED as well, giving it more charm. I didn't notice this on my first time watching the show, but Girls Und Panzer's score is surprisingly great. Would you like to hear an instrumental versions of the caissons go rolling along played alongside moe girls and tanks? Then Girls Und Panzer is for you. The old-fashioned wartime and marching band score actually plays well to the tone that Girls Und Panzer was taking. For fun situations, the music went along the lines of something with wind instruments like flutes and piccolos and a few snare drums. However, when things started to get serious in some way, the percussion would add bass drums and a larger accompaniment would be formed. I think the only thing that was weird was the Tetris theme when Russia is moving forward in episode 8, as the English release replaced the original song. Sound effects used throughout the show also supplied some added impact to the overall scale of the tankery fights. The opening is very catchy for me and one that I believe reflects the fun tone the show portrays, and the ending moves along the exact same lines as well, having a cuter style compared to the opening. The dub for the show is fine. I don't think some of the castings worked, while at other times the directing was sort of rough. It's not bad, but it's nothing great either. Now, with everything that I have said, do I recommend watching Girls Und Panzer? Definitely. Having watched the show originally 2 years ago in one sitting and really enjoying it, I didn't think I would enjoy the show nearly as much as I did before, considering my taste has changed since then. However, it still holds holds up really well. Even after the second time around and looking more closely at it than I did before, I still believe that Girls Und Panzer is a solid all-around good show. If you still feel skeptical about watching the show, at least give the first episode a shot to see why anime can only utilize these interesting ideas. Spartan Media Reviews gives Girls Und Panzer a good recommendation. If you are interested in watching Girls Und Panzer, you can check out the series for free over on Crunchyroll. Now, what are your thoughts on Girls Und Panzer? Comment below. If you enjoyed this review, hit that like button. I would really appreciate it. You can also subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. I would really appreciate that as well. Follow me on Twitter and Hummingbird to keep up to date with the current things that I am doing. And with all that said, I will catch you guys in my next review. Thank you for watching.